Hello, beloved friends and family. We are here with another video to talk about leaving our body, the good parts, the bad parts, what it's all about, and how we can come into deeper soul embodiment. Because this is truly the journey that I am on myself, and I have been discovering through the hard ways, through the easy ways, the pleasurable ways, all the different ways. And I want to bring some of that wisdom to you so that you can implement some of these things if you resonate with what I'm going to be saying today. So leaving the body can be seen as a beautiful gift to be able to astral travel or bio relocate, and being someone who's very highly observant and spiritually aware of everybody in the room and can feel how they're all feeling and their emotions. All those things serve actually a really good purpose. But what can actually happen, fast forward maybe before anyone had even entered the spiritual journey and spiritual healing part of that awareness, is that prior to this, we may have found ourselves actually dissociating, which is very similar to leaving the body. Dissociating, you can still have some of these experiences, but dissociating can happen when we have actually experienced trauma or extreme levels of stress through our physical experience, that we actually start to fade out. We start to leave the body, leave consciousness, awareness of our surroundings and the people. And I used to find this when I was a child. My cousin seemed to always be able to spot it. She would be speaking to me. She's like, "Are you listening to what I'm saying?" And then I'd be like, yeah. And then she would say, "Well, what did I just say then?" And I wouldn't be able to tell her what she just said. And that wasn't even like anything was traumatically happening. So we may have not had necessarily a traumatic experience when we're dissociating all the time, but these things can still show up in our everyday life because we've just taught ourselves not to be fully present because of what has happened. And, this also showed up for me at school. I was always told I was away with the fairies. Sounds great, being away with the fairies. But why? Because being at school was challenging. Being at home, the things that were going on at home was challenging. So I was coming in to the school environment and continuing a distance of that experience. Going in, if you relate to being a starseed, or a cosmic being, you understand yourself as a cosmic being, we are very good at floating off into those realms and go, "I'm just going to go back there. You know what, being here as a human, it's difficult, it's challenging. I'm going to go and be there." And I agree with that. It is better there. It does feel more joyous and expansive and easy, not having this physical body with all of the emotions and the experiences that we have with different people who are also going through experiences and emotions and trauma, and they're carrying lots of things. But there is a reason that we have come to Earth as an embodied human being to experience the human experience. And maybe we are here as a soul level to help and assist other people in getting out of, trauma cycles and, toxic ways of being and thinking, especially the way that we see that's happening on this planet. Where there is disharmony between humans and nature, because they've forgotten that they are nature, right? So we need to be here to support that. So we need to maybe heal the dissociated part, right? So this dissociated part is the part of us that needs to be integrated. We need to integrate that, because when we get older, as we expand, we can't keep doing that. It gets worse. It gets more challenging, because then you need to be able to hold a job down, maybe. Maybe you want to start your own job, your own business. And that is going to require presence and devotion, and requires you to be able to interact with other people with presence, with your soul online. Because if your soul isn't online, if your spirit isn't online and on board with the human experience, then nothing really happens, or things keep happening that are still related to that original trauma, right? So we might still find ourselves in experiences where we feel unsafe, where we can't be in big social groups because we feel too much of everybody's energies and it's too overwhelming on the body, you know? And we need to be able to cultivate a way to work with our body and heal our body so we feel a strong sense of self and embodiment. Okay, because sometimes we have all this amazing sense of self in the cosmic realms. We know what star systems we've been in, we know what lifetimes we've had where we had all these incredible gifts, or where even our trauma rooted on from different past lives. But how do we integrate that into this life? How do we become this person now? So me, Georgia, how do I become me as Georgia and bring in those powers into this life so that I can support this life and the people around me in this life? And that is going on that soul embodiment journey. And I just want to come back around just to give you a few more pointers of things of how dissociation can look and feel. And then we can start to talk about, you know, the gifts of those things and how we can actually utilize them through the embodiment process. Because I think so many people, when they become onto the spiritual journey, they then go, oh, okay, I've got these gifts to do that. So they can start to go up and up and up and have all these galactic cosmic experiences. And then the dissociation trauma responses are still there. We're still doing all this healing work, but we're still on the earth plane. There's still these experiences happening. Bills still need to be paid. Humans we still have to interact with. Food we have to eat. You know, just all the different, you know, we still have family dynamics. All those things still exist here. And those things can feel, just again, still very, very challenging if we're just then going, okay, I've got it. I found all these things. This works with me. This suits me of where I am and who I am. I'm going to stay up here. And we don't bring it down here. And so this thing still seems to keep having the issues and the troubles, even though we're so evolved and so connected and have all this incredible information and wisdom, you know, through our energetic light bodies and so on, you know. But really the light body is still actually on this more physical light body sense as well. It's still holding templates and codes and vibrational patterns of fear and, you know, not feeling safe to be in the body because it's still thinking, oh, no, I can't be in this body, or it's not safe to be in the body. Those programs are still running from the child. So we want to clear that. We need to clear the way of that, because then we can bring those gifts. We are actually able to, I feel now, for me, I can embody those aspects and that understanding, but I don't really even feel like I need to go out and off to leave it, to experience it. Like it still happens within me, and I'm still on that journey, and I still have to practice it. There's still moments where I notice where dissociation kicks in, but because I have the awareness of dissociation, I can see it playing out, and then I can rein myself back in, because this is something that has happened for a long time, you know. So I just want to give you some compassionate tips here as well, that even if you've been doing it, you know, you've been doing the somatic journey even for a long time and the embodiment journey, but because you've been doing the default of the dissociation for a long time as well, it can still be, it's still something that can happen, but it's just you have the tools to kind of go from here to here, right? So for me, the embodiment process is getting to the root cause, finding out what is it that has really spurred that on? What is it? So that then when I can start to decode that, when I feel and notice these things happening, I want to then create the right resources, the right patterns in my life experience that create that safety that I didn't have as a child. So if it's people shouting that gets me feeling very dissociated, then I want to make sure that I'm maybe spending more time around quietness and things like this. But also, how am I then going to interact when there is maybe a louder place? Maybe when someone is shouting, but not necessarily in a negative way. How can I overcome that? You know, how can I still stay in my body whilst that is still happening, so that I can be in my presence because that's when kind of the damage I feel of the light body can happen. When we start to leave, we dissociate, we're clear, we can't be in it. And then these kind of energetic attacks and infiltration can sort of start to come in because we're good at someone's shouting at us, and maybe, yeah, they have an attachment or a entity or whatever, and it keeps on hacking away at us because we just don't deal with it. So it's still having an effect on us, whether we dissociate or we embody. We're going to still have to face it at some point in some way. So the tool that I would suggest here is to go through your somatic body, find out where is this being held, where is it when it's first come in and it now feels like a wound, like a trigger in the body, and you want to start to talk to that part and connect with it and see if you can find out what it really wants, what does it really need to feel safe, to feel supported. And then you're going to start to be in that higher aspect, talk from your soul embodied part of you that can communicate this with this part, that how to be safe, how to feel secure. And then you can also, of course, implement certain practices. This is why I have the Feminine Alchemy membership, which is for women to actually go through somatic liberation practices, to work with their womb healing and clear their womb, and to work with their feminine essence and life force energy so that they can clear their energy field with their energy as well. Clear their energy, clear their body with this energy, and create a stronger field. So we start to create a stronger field because we start to then talk more and more and more to this embodied part and start to allow that to then guide us. So then this is going to be the voice that you're going to go, all right, okay, this is coming in. Hi, can you come and help and assist with this? How can we do this? What can I do to be more embodied? And you'll find different things in different moments that will work for you. And you're going to start to communicate with that and lead with that voice, lead with that part. And you're going to ask it, how do I need to hold myself right now? How do I need to talk in this moment? How can I express myself? And you're going to train yourself. You don't want to just train yourself by going into those places straight away where it feels difficult and challenging, but you want to maybe practice this on your own in a sacred ceremony where you're practicing this. You're practicing how to be with this energy of this soul embodied essence, this essence that can go and do the things that maybe this other part is feeling limited and cannot connect into. We're going to ask it how to do that. How does it hold itself? How does it walk in the world? How does it communicate? And you're going to start to train your body to hold that vibration. You're going to start to observe the frequency, the shape, the energy that it takes in the body. And you're going to just start to, over time, train yourself to feel that more and more in the body. You feel the presence of that. And it starts to come in. And then you start to notice the difference between the two, right? And then this part of you that you have a challenge with that starts to fade out. It starts to feel like it's a little bit difficult to talk to people. You can't hear what they're saying anymore because you're fading out. Maybe you feel distracted. You have to go and grab your phone. Maybe you just find that you feel too tired and you just want to go to sleep and you're not going to go out because you feel too tired. Like, that's one of my things. Like, I would just suddenly feel so overwhelmingly tired when I'm meant to go to like a social gathering, and I'll be like, I'm not going to go, I'm too tired. And it's just this subconscious little pattern, but it's also like it's this little navigation system. It's this little protective part of you that's going, right, let's just leave, let's just cut out for a moment. We don't want to deal with it. And when you start to feel that coming in and you'll start to notice it and how it works, then that's when we want to go, right, okay, we need to bring those codes in. I keep calling them codes, and I hope that you can understand what I mean by codes, but it's because I do see things from a perspective of geometry and symbols, and I feel that's what's going on in our energy field. I feel like this is what these thought patterns are doing, and they're creating these geometries in the body. And we can look at this with the water experiment with Dr. Emoto, the water that has lots of love poured into it, creates these divine sacred geometric patterns of snowflakes, and the same with the hateful words. And this is kind of really what's happening. We've been coded through that trauma with these feelings of like, it's not safe. So your geometry in your body is saying it's not safe. And it's like responding, and it's starting to ping up every time another situation experience looks like the similar one from when you were younger. And it might even start to get more and more extreme and just cut you out from so many things in your life because it's trying to protect you all the time. I really find this with an autoimmune condition that I have, which is really flares up lots of eczema, and like I have an allergic reaction to certain things. And I feel that that's just, it's something that has been a navigation system that I'm unraveling through belief systems and doing this soul embodiment, because it's like I know that that's just come in. It's just codes, it's just symbols of geometry in my field that is discombobulated and out of harmony with my truth. But it's built there because it's trying to be protective ally, but it doesn't realize it's actually hurting me. So I need to rewrite that. And that's what we're doing. We're just rewriting these things so that we can start to feel that confident, embodied, alive self that is ready for the divine experiences that align with our lives. So I hope that's been helpful, that yes, leaving your body can have its tools, and you can actually come back to having these great experiences with astral travel and bio relocation and all those sorts of tools, and also being someone who's very like aware of people's energy, which isn't always not necessarily out of body experience, but sometimes we just have this knowing about everybody, what their emotional state is like and their belief system. And that is really simply because we've had to do that again. It's another thing that can come on as a child. I associate it with the spleen. The spleen is like this primal protector energy that is always alert when there's danger around, and it works like that with having instant understanding and knowing of everybody in the room, who they are, what their beliefs are, what their intensive are, and we can have that instinct and it keeps us kind of safe, but it can come into over alertness, and that's when it starts to affect our nervous system and our immune system, because we're over analyzing and trying to be protective of ourselves from anything from happening. Again, allergic reactions can start to happen, autoimmune things, because it's overly responding to its environment, and it's the emotional environment, it's the energy environment of how everyone feels in the way of your life. So like an example of this is, if you're a child, again, and your parents are shouting a lot and they're arguing, maybe certain things are going on with your family members around you as a child, that feels really unsafe. So you want to always try and check in how they're feeling. Like, is it safe to talk to them today? Is it safe to be in the room with them today? Should I just quickly go up to my room and leave them to it today? Like, you're going to have that awareness of like, oh, it's not good to be around them today. Like, I'm going to be careful. So that's that heightened perspective, which again, once you heal the trauma, these gifts will be a lot more easier to utilize in your life, that doesn't actually also hinder you at the same time. Because I notice, again, with lots of empathic people, there's so much out there on the internet about empaths being overly sensitive. This is what I was told when I was younger and I was starting my spiritual journey. I was doing my Reiki training, and it was like, oh, you're a sponge, you just absorb everything, that's why, and you're a bright light sponge, and that's why these narcissists keep coming for you, because they see your light, they just want to get in there. And I just was like, oh, how do I do that? How do I cope with this? It's like, well, now I know, but it's taken some time to go through that journey, because it was like evolving those spiritual gifts that were already online from a child, which whether they would have been there or not through trauma, that's another thing. But the fact that the trauma was there, it just created certain responses. It created a certain structure within my nervous system to how I deal with certain things in life that needed attention, if anything, first, before going ahead with spiritual evolution. It's almost like I needed to do some real deep shadow work, physical clearing of the trauma, and really like strip that away.
so that I felt really connected and clear with my body and who I was, to then like evolve those gifts, for instance. But again, it all is perfect. Like we can always look at how things could be done differently. Now I've gone through this journey, like I can obviously hold that space for others to find this way of somatic liberation. So there is a gift in that as well, right? So I hope this has been helpful and that you have had some takeaways with what is going on when you're leaving your body, and maybe this has kind of been some light bulb moments for some of you who have kind of been like, oh yeah, like I do that, and yeah, that's really challenging. I am really highly evolved and spiritual, but I still have these troubles, in my physical body or in my human experience. It's like, okay, well, let's kind of bring this part of the healing in as well. I really emphasize, we work on the light body and work on the physical body. Like these two things really do need to go hand in hand in order for us to really evolve and move forward. And if we are beings who feel that we have a divine mission to support humanity, to do something really wonderful in this world, to do good for your community, then you want to be able to be present in your physical body. You want to feel connected to this experience of life so that you can also enjoy the ride as well. So lots of love, and if this really does resonate, I highly recommend coming into the Feminine Alchemy membership so that you can explore and experience some of these practices. We do weekly live classes as well, and there's lots of womb healing, massage, also many good things, but go on the landing page and you'll find it all there. Lots of love. Bye for now.